you're not alone. If you need someone to talk to today, please contact Crisis Services Canada by either calling them at 1-833-456-4566 all hours of the day. Or you can text them at 45645 at 4 p.m. to 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Remember, you're not alone, and Crisis Services Canada is here to help.
The FHN network is sponsored in part by Hoddle Services. If you're looking for a disc jockey, karaoke host, video jockey to videographer, our company can help. With over 20 years of experience, we would be happy to help with your special event within Ontario, Canada. You can contact us at 226-988-2895 or visit us at our website at hoddleservices.vpweb.ca. That's HODDLE Services. We look forward to hearing from you and helping with your special event.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Off the Puck, Season 3, Episode 9, I believe we're on now. We're missing our host, Findsy, tonight, so I'll be the temporary host, so bear with me with any mumbles, jumbles I usually known for. But, yeah, we'd like to welcome you to Off the Puck, and Findsy's, yeah, like I said, he's busy tonight. We'll miss him. We'll miss his little comedy brought to the show. But you can catch us on Rogers Television, London surrounding area, Rogers TV 20, and you can also catch us in the London area. See, there's my mumbles jumbles walks. In the London area, it's TV channel 13. In the Kitchener-Waterloo area, it's Rogers 20. Sorry about that. But yeah, you can catch us on all social media platforms as well: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, etc. You can catch all our new episodes on Rogers Saturday nights. They air and they go all week long. So yeah, with that said, further on, there's a little bit going on in the NHL. The Hall of Fame weekend just went on. I had a little cool experience there yesterday went to the Hall of Fame alumni game took my boys. So that was a little fun that I had there. But yeah, I got Crosby hits, Crosby's back, other things. If we get to it, we get to it, but we might not, because we have we have a pretty good guest and big guest here that has a lot of stories, I'm sure, to share with us and probably take up most of her time. But before I introduce him, I'll introduce our co-host tonight, Mr. Mike Wookie Walker, the coach of the Hot Sailors. How are you doing there, Wooks?
Doing pretty good. Yeah, we split the weekend, so I mean, lost 1-1. We're still holding into second place right now, and yeah, we've still got a lot of work ahead of us. We're just under halfway now, so
I can't complain, man. It's big comeback season, exciting things in door. You said you were barn was packed there on Sunday. Good to see. It's been a while since anything even close to been packed.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Early season, right, man? It's not even close to playoffs, so
yeah, it's been a long time. I mean, the odd year we get to the second round of playoffs, and it's, not as busy as it's been this year, so it's definitely good to see.
That's right. And I will make it out to one of these games, one of these weekends. I promise you that. And but before we can keep going on, we just like to introduce our next guest. Really happy to have him. Really thank him out from the East Coast. Mr. David Ling himself. He played over 20 years pro hockey, 24 to be exact. Maybe I could be wrong there, David, but. Yeah, close to 100 NHL games, CHL Player of the Year. Could probably go on and on and on. How you doing there, Dave?
I'm doing good, thanks. Glad to be here, and I love talking hockey.
Nice. Awesome. Do you mind if I call you Dave, Linger? What do you prefer?
I've been called a lot worse.
Yeah, I'm sure, right? I'm sure. All right, I'll go with Langer. I'm thinking Langer sounds good. So yeah, with we're saying there, Walker's the coach. We're from Port Dover, Ontario, by the way, and Mike coaches the local junior C team here, and yeah, he's having some pretty good successes here. Mike, I'll let you take it away a little bit and tell him about it, and yeah.
Yeah, so basically, yeah, we play the surrounding Niagara area, and pretty much, Niagara Falls, Dundas. I'm trying to think here: Hagersville, Dunnville, Grimsby. This year, we kind of got lucky. We had to pull a lot of talent out of local, and it's been panning out for us right now. So, that being said, what's that? Sorry,
What place are you in?
we're sitting in second. We were first last weekend, and it's between first place to fifth place. There's 2 points separating everybody, so it's jam packed right now. We're hoping we can kind of pull away from somebody at some point.
I've been to Point Dover in the summer. It's very beautiful. I've been there in the winter, and it's not so beautiful.
Yeah,
you got that right. It is. Yeah, it's definitely a touristy summer town, and that's about it. Ghost town in the winter, and yeah, you said it there. Yeah, born out in East Nova Scotia. What was life in hockey like growing up out there?
Well, I moved to PEI when I was 5, so I just started skating in Halifax. But then when I moved to PEI, I had an older brother, and there's not much to do in the winter on the East Coast, and hockey's the sport, and we got into it at a young age. I probably got into it a little younger because my brother was 2 years older. So sometimes I was the goalie, and sometimes I was the guy that got beat up on. So
whatever you wanted, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I read your brother played a little bit of pro himself. Did you ever have the honor to play with him at all, or play against him, or anything like that?
Yeah, 1 year in the old IHL in Kansas City, he got called up for about 15 games, and we were on the same line. So that was
nice.
That was cool, because at some point I wanted to go down, and if he wasn't going to get called up, I wanted to go down to the East Coast League and play with him just to have that opportunity. So it worked out. It worked out well, and we clicked, and we played Bantam together, and as soon as we played together, about my 10th year pro or 8th year pro, we were still clicking, and it was like we didn't leave the ice together. So it's kind of a brother instinct, I'm thinking.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. And so, where did you say you are today, and what are you up to?
I'm in Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island, and I'm doing some insurance financial stuff with Sun Life.
Oh, nice. I think I did read that somewhere out there. You got any family out there with you?
Yeah, I got my family here. My brother's in the States, but I have my sister and my mom and boys are here, so it's good.
Nice. Did I read one of your boys' names was Bates?
Yep, Bates. Right.
Was that after one of your buddies?
Well, he is my buddy, and Bates is my buddy, but I just really like the name, and it was one of those things that, was it after Bates Battaglia? Maybe not, but I like the name.
Absolutely, yeah. I last time I seen Bates Battaglia was on what show was he on there? What's that one they travel across Canada?
The brother, the Amazing Race.
Yeah, where they're racing across the Amazing Race. That seen him on there. That's cheering him on. I think he did pretty well on there.
I think they won it.
Yeah.
Did they end up winning?
Yeah.
Of course he did. Why wouldn't he? So yeah, walks. Did you ever have any kids walk on or play on the team for you at age 14 years old?
No, they've actually changed that since just before we would have gotten junior, where you have to be at least 16 years of age. So
16.
Yeah.
Well, David, didn't you play? You played junior when you're 14. I was reading.
Yeah. You know what, my brother. I was playing Bantam when I went out for a tryout, and I was just going out for ice time, and because my brother was going out and he was trying out, and we ended up both making it. They asked my dad, I guess I looked good enough in the tryouts that they kept me. We both signed midget cards that year and played junior, but yeah, I was 14, and my my first game, I got in a fight. So, you know, I have a 14-year-old fighting a 20-year-old. So it was started early.
I was going to say 118 PIMs there for your first year juniors. Not too bad for that age.
My coach that year was Sporby Kennedy, who was the original 6 tough guy. And he was one of the guys that, you know, he said to me, you're from a small place, you're a small guy. And if you don't learn how to fight, you're not going to be able to play away. So it started at that age and it was instilled in me. And I wanted to play, and if he told me to run through a car, I probably would have ran through a car. So, you know, it was just that day and age, and I know the game's changed now, and the barbaric is kind of gone out of the way, which is probably a positive for everyone.
You also posted like 64 points I got here that year. Obviously, the skill game was still in there. Was that your original thought, to be a skill player as opposed to, you know, a coach telling you you're going to have to fight for your space?
Yeah, you know, like I grew up as an offensive guy, you know, going through minor hockey, there wasn't much fighting, but I realized because I was a smaller guy back in the day when you had to be 6 feet, 6'1", and realized that if I was going to play, I was going to have to learn a niche. And, you know, I didn't like it. After I turned about 33, I didn't like fighting, but before that, I really enjoyed it. And when someone else got in a fight, it was kind of like, why him, not me? And, you know, the adrenaline started going on the bench and you started to rock and shake. So, you know, I did like it kind of in a weird kind of way.
Yeah, absolutely.
You good, Stiley?
Yeah. You score 33 goals, 75 points, and in 30 games, along with 270 penalty minutes as a 17-year-old. At what age were you actually being approached from the OHL, or like did you know that you were gonna continue on with this hockey life?
So, you know, I did get a lot of circuit recognition in Pee Wee, you know, and I played a year Pee Wee. Then my second year Pee Wee, I played Bantam, and I was getting recognition there. And, you know, my brother was getting scholarship offers around that time, and, you know, I was getting letters of intent and whatnot back then. And, you know, everyone wanted you to go college back then, and I knew that if I was going to play pro or in the NHL, I had to fight, and there was no fighting in college. So, you know, at 14, 15, 16, I knew I was going to, you know, at least try out and play major junior somewhere. At that time, we didn't have any there was no team in the Maritime, so we could pick any of the 3 leagues. You had to pick before the draft. So, you know, I wasn't going to the Quebec League. I didn't know French, and the Western League was too far. And, you know, we got to watch the Sunday night OHL games down here. So it was one of those things that, you know, the OHL was the dream for me to go play in, and I got that opportunity.
Absolutely. What team did you cheer for growing up?
I was a Red Wing fan, and you know, I wore number 17 because of Gerard Gallant, and he ended up coaching me and becoming, we're friends. And his son actually coaches my son now. My son wears 17. Both sons wear 17. So it's all it was because of the Detroit Red Wings. He was really the only NHLer from PEI. He played a tough game. He was small, and, you know, I enjoyed the Yzerman, the Probert, the Gallant line back then. So it was interesting. It was fun. I'm not really a Detroit Red Wing fan now. I lived in Ontario 4 or 5 years and kind of adopted the Leafs, so I'm a Leaf fan now.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's weird. Not many people jump back onto a Leaf fan, but I did.
Yeah. No personal feelings hurt. No worries. Yeah, I had something crazy here. You had the number 17. I'm gonna try to go off my head because I have a million notes and I can't find it. But you're drafted in the 7th round, 179th overall. Yeah. So with the 1/7 of the 179 is 17. The 9 plus the 7th round is 17. And yeah, I just some of my stupid stuff I just kind of read and put together. I kind of found that kind of cool how 17 all tied together there.
Yeah, you know, it's been my number. I ended up getting to wear it when I got to wear it in Columbus one year, my second year there, and Gerard was my coach. So it was kind of it doesn't happen very much, I wouldn't think, but my childhood idol ended up coaching me, and I was wearing his number, so it was kind of cool.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome, man. And then do you still keep contact with him today? I take it.
Yeah, I talked to him in the summer
with his son. Yeah, his son
touched base
coaching your
with him
son.
in
So
the winter.
Nice.
Yeah, and his son's coaching my son, so it's pretty good. And it's his wife. I am the second favorite 17, not the
first.
We just touched on the draft there. I mean, it's obviously different today from what it was. What was your experience with it, and did you kind of know Quebec was going to take you versus another team? Were teams interviewing you prior to it?
A couple teams made some interest. I don't even think I was rated, and my agent said you can come to the draft, but you might not go, and you might. And I'm like, I rolled the dice and said, I want to go. I don't want to miss the opportunity to be there and get drafted, but also understood. But it was, my 5'9" stature hurt me some, and I had to always prove my way, which I think benefited me in the long run.
Absolutely.
But the draft, it was in Quebec City, and it wasn't that far a drive, but it's in Quebec City. You get drafted by the Nordiques, and it was surreal. I had my dad, my brother, my grandfather there, and it was surreal. It's a dream. It's one of those. It's the draft, the first NHL game, and the first NHL goal that you dream about, and I got to do all three.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's cool, really, for sure.
When you were in Kingston there, especially being young and then working your way to being the older guy on the team, was there anybody that you kind of looked up to or took pointers from once you got into that level?
Yeah, we had a bunch of older guys my first year in Kingston, and a couple of them are still in hockey. Mike Dawson's a scout with Seattle. Trent Call's a coach in the AHL. And these were guys that were 20 when I came in and showed some leadership. We had Craig Rive, who went on to be a captain in the NHL, and players like that had leadership, that were trying to be a pro at junior level and living that way. So there was a lot of learning, and you make mistakes as a 17, 18, 19-year-old on and off the ice, and you deal with them and become better. And I think that I always had good coaching leadership when I was there. Dave Allison and Gary Agnew, that were guys that not only wanted the team to win, but wanted the boys to grow up to be men.
Awesome. Was there ever a story you can recall while playing junior where you're like, wow, that actually happened? Woman, I guess we could call it.
Well, I do remember a kind of a drinking one. I was out after curfew around, I don't know, like say 1:30 or whatever, and I walk into one of the local establishments, and Davey Allison, I'm 17, and Davey Allison's sitting at the bar, and I just walk in, and I just I wanted in my own brain, I just went, oh my God. Like just
yeah. So, you lead the league in junior in penalty minutes in your second season with 254 minutes, along with 77 points in 61 games. What was that season like? Was that all fighting, or was that just roughhousing and all the above?
I think I averaged my first couple of years 30 fights. So a lot of them were fights, but a lot of it, I was known as a rat. I didn't mind sticking my stick into you and thinking that gave me an advantage. And I think in my career it did. People felt I was unpredictable, didn't know what I was going to do, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed when people said that guy's a rat, and I enjoyed when the other crowd was cheering your name and chanting to get out of the rink and whatnot. I enjoyed it. It was, if I didn't get it, I felt like I wasn't doing my job. So a lot of the penalties were sticks and punches and dirty plays, whatever. But it was one of those things that I knew that it was a niche. Not a lot of guys wanted to be that guy, and I wanted to be that guy. But my first year, maybe my first year and a half, I was probably 2-40. Had a black guy every Monday, so I learned how to get beat
The
before I
punching
learned how
bag.
to win.
Hey, you gotta. What I always tell my kid now, you gotta practice, get better at things, right? So that's the only way you get better. So just might as well try it out.
I remember my dad coming up one weekend, and he said, he goes, "Forget the ice bag, just put your head in the freezer."
Yeah. And then was it your last season you were named captain?
Yep, my last year, yeah.
So what that mean to you to be told you're being the captain, and what did you do to lead as a captain?
Well, I think we had a bunch of good older guys that year as well, and I think that we, even as a 17-year-old, 18, 19, we didn't have we didn't have we didn't have rookies and vets. We kind of combined it all together and had some respect that way, and I think it benefited going forward. I think that when I was named captain, I felt like I was a leader in the room, but it was more, be the example on the ice. They knew that I would stick up for anyone on the team, and then the last year, I was given the opportunity to play a lot of ice, put an opportunity to get a lot of points, and play with a lot of good players that made me have a successful year that way.
Yeah, I would say it was a decent year. 135 points, 61 goals, which was the OHL high. And this is all in 62 games, Walks.
Yes,
74 assists. Then, you also had a strong playoff run, but didn't go as long as you wanted. You ended up with 7 goals, 8 assists in 6 games. What kind of happened with you guys in the playoffs? You just collapsed, or?
We ended up getting beat by a better team. I did break my hand.
That's right, your thumb.
The second last game, yeah. So that I did have a good playoffs. My dad was an orthopedic surgeon and put a cast on that enabled me to move my wrist a little bit. So it was good that way. I think that we had some players that time that didn't show up that we needed, and when you get to playoffs, you can't win with 1, 2 lines, as everyone knows. It's the third and fourth line that win series and win playoffs, and you got to have that. And that could have been a coaching thing. We did run 2 lines a lot during the year, and it can catch up to you in playoffs.
For sure.
Not showing up in playoffs sounds a lot like my Leafs. I see that year after year, man. No, understand that one.
Sometimes they don't even get there.
Yeah, that's just it. They don't even get there, and when they do, then they don't show up. So it's just, yes. I don't even know why.
No, I think they ran through that last year. I think the other guys didn't have the power play experience when Marner and Matthews weren't produced, and they didn't have the experience or to jump up and take over. And I think that kind of hurt them. And it was proven that you need 12 forwards to win.
100%.
Absolutely.
So Linger, you hopped up into the AHL the next year. This is one I like to ask a lot of our guests. Going from playing against boys against the men, I mean, you still had a ton of penalty minutes. What was it like, going up and challenging a guy that's been doing it for, 10, 15 years versus fighting a kid in junior?
You know what? And I look back and I reminisce and I reflect, and I was dumb. I walked in with an attitude that I should be there and that no one would stop me. And I was tough as anyone in the league, and I was dumb. And I played the same way, and I had my ups and downs that year, but I had success. I got the opportunity to play in the power play. We did have a good team, and sometimes I was on the fourth line and playing on the power play. So it was kind of a, offensive minded, and I got the opportunity. And then when I needed to, I fought. And, when you fight and you get the respect of guys, you get more room. And I think that, again, I look back and I was dumb, ignorant and just didn't know the difference, and thought that, my shit didn't stink. And
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You would have played with local boy Dwayne Rolson out there that year too.
He was my roommate my first year. Yeah.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
So
Yeah,
that was good. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a local guy. I'm a goaltender as well, so he did a few camps and stuff, and yeah, he would come as like the star teacher or whatever, and yeah, he talked to him and stuff. Yeah, love Dwayne. He's a great guy.
I never met a goalie that wasn't weird, so you must be weird too.
So some say that, eh, Walker?
Oh, tell you that every day.
It's good to be different.
No, it's funny. On a lot of my teams, a lot of the goalies were my buddies, so it was maybe I'm weird too. But no, I kind of attracted the goalies and hung out with them a little bit.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're all right, guys.
Well, some of the time.
Yeah, sometimes. So yeah, was it St. John's? St. John's is where you debuted. Is that like where? How far away is that from where you were?
It's about 2 hours in New Brunswick, St. John, New Brunswick. Yeah, and it was it's not too far away, and there's some universities right around there. And I had some buddies. I played junior away in Kingston. That was 15 hours from my hometown, and I come back 20. And I'm a half a university student taking no classes because I got buddies in the area going to school and stuff. So it was kind of it was a fun time to be 20.
Yeah, absolutely, right? Yeah, lots to do. That's awesome. Then you were traded. Actually, you got traded the first time from Quebec to actually, where is it from? From Quebec to Calgary. Then you got traded again from Calgary to Montreal. Do you have any idea either time, first time, this time, that you were ever going to be shipped out? Did anybody ever give you the heads up? Hey, just be aware, or was it all total surprise?
My first year, I came in with a I had surgery that summer, and after the junior year in my hand, and I came in with no, I was red shirted and I was practicing, and Paul Baxter, who was the coach, took a hate for me early on. I don't know if he thought I should be playing right away, but it was a battle for the whole year. And I wasn't the type that would go face to face. At 30, I probably would have with the coach, but I tried to. Back then it was the respect. The coach was right, you're wrong, and I kind of didn't fight, but it was a battle. He he played mind games and did some different things. I knew I never asked to be traded, but I was kind of hoping, and I was friends with the radio guys, and they were kind of hitting me off that I might be going the next year, and I did. It's funny because I don't know if it was related, unrelated, because there was no cell phones, but we go into St. John's, Newfoundland to play the Leafs, and they have an automatic bus pick us up, and the coaches and the trainers and the bus driver go in to get some stuff off the baggage claim, and I thought it'd be funny as a rookie to move the bus around the airport and hide it. So I hid the bus, and the coach came right away and blamed it on me. And that night I got traded. So I don't know if it was related, unrelated, or.
Well, thanks for a hell of a story. That's awesome.
Oh yeah. Well, you got a coach. You get a coach like that who, you said he played the mind games with you, and rubbed you the wrong way. Later on in your career, did you find that decreased your value over, maybe helped it psychologically?
I was always just being a shorter guy coming from a smaller town. I was always battling adversity, and it was just I came at 14 with Forby Kennedy as a coach, and he was a hard ass. He was tough. He was fair, but he was tough, and he demanded a lot. So I was used to that. It's not the way the coaches coach nowadays, not the majority anyway. And it's I benefited from it. I didn't mind it. I used negatives as positives and said, here, fuck you, and go that way and push it at them. And some guys crawl up and curl up and go into a little ball and can't perform. So I think that looking back all my years, I think that coaches are more managing of personalities, because there's so many different personalities that they have to. One guy they have to kick in the ass, and the other guy they have to massage. So it's funny. I didn't mind being either. I liked being told I was good, but I also didn't mind a whack in the back of the head to say, wake up.
Yeah, we grew up with pretty tough, couple tough coaches, Walker, and I agree with you, Linger. I kind of liked it. Well, like it taught you. I thought it was a good teaching way. I don't know. I benefited from it lots of ways too. Took like you said, negatives as positives. But yeah, nowadays it's changed so much, and yeah, Walks, you experienced that firsthand. You know exactly what he's talking about, and yeah, I'm sure you can have a couple. You can relate to that a little bit, buddy?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I mean, I was the guy where if a coach were to ream right down me because I was playing bad, it didn't help my game at all. Like,
yeah.
I was one of those players, but at the end of the day, too, I was also the kid where I wanted to shove it right back at him as well once something did turn around for me. So absolutely that's
yeah, and that's the most fulfilling part is when you do be able to succeed and look back and go, yep, see, told you were wrong. But it makes you better. I think that kids don't like it now. Kids are kids can't play with guys they don't like. Kids, we used to have to play. You're at 20 guys, you learn that they're not all your friends. You don't like them all, but at the rink you're a family and you play together. That's not the culture anymore. I think that kids can't deal with adversity and can't deal with negativity, and it's some guys benefit from it and some guys don't. I think, but my kids have they don't deal with adversity as well as we did, and I don't think it's to blame them. I just think it's the time and the different cultures.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I find I find with my team that I coach, I can't just pick out Styles or Linger to yell at. I yell at the group collectively, and then I have to draw on a board and show Linger or Styles individually. Hey, maybe we try to do this next time we get the puck. So it's kind of works that way.
Can't center people out anymore.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. And their mothers get mad too.
That's right. That's right.
That's hilarious. Yeah, that's funny. So finally get a crack at the NHL with the Habs for a couple games. Where were you when you got the call, and what were your thoughts and feelings going over you?
It's funny because again, there's no cell phones. I'm at
true.
I'm in Fredericton, New Brunswick, and we had a day off, and I was at UNB, which is university there, and I was literally having a beer at the bar, and one of the guys calls me and goes, "Get home, they're trying to call you," and I go, "Whatever." You're like, everyone's playing jokes, and I'm like, "Whatever," and hung up on him, and he had to come down and pull me back out to go home and answer the phone because I didn't believe him. So then, I go up, and it's my first game. I fly in, I don't know, Thursday, but I'm playing Saturday night, hockey night in Canada against the Boston Bruins. So it was like, it was surreal that way. And I played road hockey as the Montreal Canadiens playing the Boston Bruins and stuff. So it was crazy. It was on TV. And the next day there's a picture of me in the Gazette hitting Bork. So it was like, it was, nice. It was perfect. I didn't play that many shifts, and I don't think I did too much right, and I don't think I did too much wrong. But it was an experience that you never forget. I was so nervous in pregame skate, I couldn't even make a pass. Usually they're on the tape and they're 5, 6, 7 feet off, and you're just like, holy, breathe.
Oh yeah, so many thoughts going through the brain. I could only imagine, man. That's just wild. Good question we like to always ask here on the show too. Who are kind of some of the first people when you walked into the room or wherever you joined the team who are some of the first faces that you ran into and met?
Well, it's funny because I flew in on an evening when there was no one at the rink, and you go into the rink, drop your gear off with the one of the trainers, and then you get told to go to the hotel and check into the hotel. And again, there's no cell phones, but I'm lying on the bed probably 5 minutes in, and I get a phone call at the hotel, and it's Shane Corson who says, "I'm picking you up at 6:30. We're going for dinner." So, so he was the first one that kept that reached out, and then that all the guys were pretty good at the rink. There was some big names, Lyle Odelon, Mark Recchi, Vladimir Malakoff. So there was a lot of guys, and but Shane Corson called me that before and took me out to dinner, and so that was again surreal. I grew up, I'd probably be in Shane Corson on the street too. So it was
absolutely, that's a pretty cool first game.
And I just moved back from Ontario, and I ran into him like a couple times a year, and have shoot the shit and have a beer, and he's a great guy.
Nice.
He played with another local boy, Jason Cullimore, when he was in Montreal as well.
Yep. The thing I remember about Jason was that as soon as he got on he had to take a sleeping pill before he got on the plane. He hated flying. That that's one thing that stuck. He was a great guy, big man that liked to have fun. But that's the one thing I remember about him. And it's funny because my first line mates were Darcy Tucker, who was a left winger that was just trying to get into the lineup, and our winger was Dave Wilkie, who was a D. So it wasn't like it used to be. You got 3-4 minutes, and you better do good in the 3 or 4 minutes because that's all you're getting. I remember one time in one of the games we were going to Philadelphia against the Legion of Doom line, and we're in our own zone. I don't know why they put us on in there, and Lindros wins the draw, and it goes back between Coffey and Desjardins, and the bench, everyone's on the bench yelling us to get off. So I skate as fast as I can to the box, and I think I got 3 seconds, and they wouldn't put us back on. So one of my 3 games with Montreal was 3 seconds.
That's hilarious.
On the official game sheet, though, that's all that matters.
Would Saku Koivu would have been there at that point in time, correct?
Yep, Saku, Bure. Pavlov's brother. And
what was Saku like? I mean, obviously he would have been a leader. He wore the captain there for a lot of years. Kind of how was he in the room and as a person?
Well, he was outgoing. He was always smiling, but he was quiet. He's a Finnish guy that was quiet, but worked his bag off and became an elite player in the league.
Yeah, for sure.
So you're back on the move, 98 to Chicago this time. Do you ever feel you got the fair crack in Montreal, or what? Why the ending there?
Yeah, so there's a story behind that one too. There was no reflecting back, I don't think at that time I don't think any English guy got a fair shake in Montreal. I didn't complain about it back then, but reflecting back and knowing more. But it's funny because Chicago came in to watch Brad Brown, who was a first round pick, and they were looking at to trade him, and they're in there watching to trade him, and I fought Kevin Kamensky twice and had a goal, and that Monday they traded for me. So I think that it was just Chicago being there, looking for Brad Brown, and then seeing me and getting that opportunity to trade for me. And again, I got traded for a French guy, which I don't know if that makes sense, but
yeah, go figure, right? Yeah, never see or hear that one anymore.
No.
Yeah. So you once you traded to Chicago, you kind of go into the IHL scene. What was the league? What was that league like playing in, and your time for a few different franchises?
Well, the first year, so when I went in with the into the I in Indianapolis, they were affiliated, but some of the teams weren't. So some of the teams had the older guys, and you hear stories about the guy coming behind you saying, "I'm coming behind you, don't." And that did happen. Some of the older guys, it was kind of it was highly skilled, a little bit more skilled, but not as much as that. And I didn't know how to turn it on and off. So no one liked me because I was sticking and stuff. But, with more affiliation, it became, a really good league. And before it dissolved into the American League, it was very good. It was, I think at the old I could have been skill wise because of the older players be better than the American League, just not as intense. And I went into Chicago, Indianapolis, and I put numbers up. I was coming off a Canadian contract, and and you were offered the 10% raise that summer, and I thought that I deserved more than the 10% raise because I was making, minimum wage at that time, and they wouldn't budge on it. So I said, you know what, I'm not playing for that when I have the opportunity to go to Kansas City, who's independent, and make, double the money. So I chose at that time to jump to Kansas City, who was independent.
Nice.
Yeah. With that IHL, kind of how did the divisions work, so to speak? Because it was more of a central, was it not?
Yeah, there was Long Beach, Vegas, Kansas City. So there was I think there was two divisions. I think like Chicago, Milwaukee, Indianapolis were in a other team, and then there was a Western division too, I think, as well. But I mean, it was fun. You're going into, you're coming from the American League, you're going into Portland and Springfield and Fredericton, New Brunswick, and you're going into the I, and you're going into Kansas City, Las Vegas, Long Beach, and Atlanta. So you're going into cities like that. It was, it was fun.
Yeah, I can imagine there's a couple background stories in some of those cities.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, with a lot of the other guys.
Yeah. So 2001, you leave the Stars organization. Well, you went from Chicago to Dallas, and then you went from Dallas. You signed in 2001 with Columbus. This is where you kind of got your big shot and most of your time in the NHL and stuff. Did you kind of know like you would get this opportunity before signing there, or I also read you had a little bit of a connection there with I don't know if it was the GM at the time.
Yeah, so just before I get to that one, there's a good story about Utah.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
I go into Utah, and Bob Gainey's kid who's there, who's Steve Gainey, who's a great guy.
Yeah.
And Bob's the GM, and Steve misses practices a couple times, and there's no big issues. And I remember we're playing in Kansas City. I'm going back to Kansas City. I'm with Utah. Gainey's there. And a guy hits me behind the net, and I skate back up the ice, and I crack him behind the play with a two-hander. Don't get caught. Finish the game. I don't know. Who knows what I had on the score sheet. But the next day at the pregame meal, Gainey comes in and points to me and says, "Come on, I want to talk to you." So he's about 30 seconds ahead of me, and the boys go, "Uh-oh, he's never done that before." Yeah. So I get down into the lobby, and he's an intimidating man. So I'm sitting there, and I'm kind of sitting straight up, and by the end of it, I'm all the way down on my back, nearly on the chair. He said, "You can call your agent all you want." He said, "You're the dirtiest player I've ever seen. I'm going to bury you. I'm not moving you. I'm going to bury you." So Bob Bourne, who was coaching there, who's with the Islanders, he goes, "I'll put you on the power play, but I can't move you off the fourth line. They won't let me." And I had, my points dropped that year, but I had 15 goals, and not one of them was an even strength goal because I just never got on the ice even strength. So that was that story. I knew that was the end of Utah after that. But then in that summer, there's a PEI contingency in Columbus. Doug McLean was the president. Jimmy Clark was the vice president. Turk was the assistant coach. There was Jim Rankin, who was the travel coordinator. There was a PEI contingency there that I knew that, I might get a chance, but I did get a phone call from Jimmy Clark, who was running the American League team. Actually, my agent called me, Larry Kelly, and he calls me and says, "I got you a deal in Syracuse. It's worth $75,000." I said, "Oh, perfect, I'll take it." And he says, "Why don't you call Jimmy yourself?" So I called Jimmy, and I knew Jimmy from before, and he says, "Yeah, we're really interested, and we want you to come in and replace Reggie Savage." I said, "What did Reggie Savage make last year?" He said, 125. I said, "Can I make 125? He said, "Sure." So now I'm like, in a 5-minute phone call, I got 50 more grand than my agent got me. And then my agent wanted me to pay him on it. I'm like, "Yeah, not a chance."
No.
So me and Larry Kelly, that was the end of Larry at that time. So
Yeah.
And that's the story. And so, I did get that opportunity, and everyone needs it. I think that I did play well and deserve it.
Yeah.
But I got that extra push, I think, and it allowed me. And it's funny because Dave King didn't like the style of play. that I played. I wasn't as fast as he wanted with the Hockey Canada style, and after he got fired, I was up for a year and a half. So it was, I got 5 games before he got fired, and then as soon as he got fired, I was up for a year and a half, and I did find out it's just he didn't want me on the team. So see how it's one guy like you, one guy not, and it can make a big difference.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely, that's what you. That's you always hear, and you still know it's politics is a big thing in hockey, and you always wonder. Probably some guys that barely get the shot or didn't even get a shot that, hey, you wonder they might have had a decent career had they got that shot, right? But sometimes, the guys just don't get that shot or chance, and it's kind of sad,
again,
but it is what it is. It's the business.
And the first rounders get 7 lives, 9 lives, because
yes.
One, it makes the scouts look bad if they don't make it. So they get every opportunity to succeed, which, right or wrong, it's just part of the way it goes. And you don't see a lot of first rounders that don't make it anymore. The scouts are really good. There used to be a lot that didn't go on.
Yeah, I know you used to see so many old drafts. Yeah, some of the first, second, third overalls, and then some of them didn't even pan out at all. Some of them very short careers, and it's kind of baffling. Like, how did you get that wrong with every player out there in the world to choose from, and you can't even get one to have a decent career? It's crazy.
And I remember my Red Wings at the time. They were notorious for getting really good picks in the 6th, 7th, 8th round. So it was like,
oh yes, they need a few rounds there.
And those guys were in the late rounds that everyone overlooked.
Absolutely.
I know that's the other one. It's like, how do guys fail on the first, third picks, and then guys nail guys in the 7th, 8th, 9th rounds like that? It just it's crazy, and it shows you that scouting has a lot to do in the game.
Yeah. I just want to touch in quickly before I got another one I really want to ask about, but just your first NHL goal, who was it on, and where'd you score it?
Yeah, good question.
So it was in Dallas. It was off a face-off, and it was the face-off was 1 to the point. I drove to the net and rebound, and I pumped it 5-hole on Ron Tugnut. So it was, and I played with Ron the year before a couple games, so it was kind of a joke that he let me score. But my next goal was one that I don't forget. It was I don't forget any of them. There was only 4, but it was a 2-on-1 with Jean-Luc Grandpierre, and I said, I better shoot this one, and I shot it top shelf, but Patrick Waugh was the goalie. So
oh, nice.
And I celebrated like I had 50 of them. So it was
but you might as well. You said,
I got one on here.
You're gonna end up with, and it's a legend of a goalie to bury one on.
Absolutely. I just want to fast forward here because we are getting close on our time. You did a couple of years in Russia,
yes.
And you hear kind of the horror stories and some of the awesome experiences that people had. How was it for you, and what was kind of your moment there?
Any Russian gas experiences?
Well, I could write a book on Russian. There's a lot of positives, there's a lot of negatives, and it started on the first day of when I landed in Russia. So I signed in Moscow Dynamo, and I did my homework. I knew that that you need to have guaranteed money. You need to have it in your hand. They can do certain things. Simone Gamache, who was a player, he went there and he was supposed to get money up front. They put him on and basically cut him before they gave him the money because they didn't like his style. So I'm like, so I get to Dynamo, and I'm like, they're like, my agent's like, I said, I'm not going on the ice. I don't have my money, and they wouldn't give me my money. And I played with Tyler Moss, who was playing down in Moscow Spartak, which is only about 20 minutes down the road. And I ended up talking to him through email because I couldn't even get a SIM card at that time. And he said, I talked to the GM, why don't you come down here? So I said, we had the same agent. They talked to the agent. My agent said, yeah, let's go down there. So we get in a car, and just as we're about to leave, they come running out with the the bag of money, and I'm like, nah, I've already decided I'm going down to Spartak. So I go down to Spartak, play there. We get paid in brown bags of $100 American cash. At that time, it was a Super League, not the KHL at the time. And there was, the KHL is a lot better. They use banks. They didn't use banks at this time.
Mhm.
And we ended up, I ended up having a pretty good year, and I ended up going back to Moscow Dynamo the next year. So it was kind of funny that way. But I remember the first day we get paid, we go up into the attic of the rink, and there's this big guy with a machine gun and an old lady with a counter, a piece of paper, and a big mailbag. And you go in, and I'd say my last name, and I said Ling, and she'd look down, check it off, grab the money out of the mailbag, put it in the counter, and off you go in a brown bag.
That's a buddy of mine was over there playing, and he said basically the exact same story for when he got paid.
Yeah. Who did?
And then it got better. It got better, but on payday, my apartment got robbed. I'm sure it was an inside job. Different things like that. We didn't get paid. My first year, we didn't get paid for 3 months. I was trying to get the guys to stay off practice for a bit, just to try to put some pressure on there. Like, no chance, we'll be blackballed and whatnot. So 3 months we don't get paid. But me and Tyler Moss at the time, we both basically say, we made more already than we would have in the American League. So, we get it. If we don't, it sucks. But we're not going to complain. So in the summertime, a new government guy got organized 4 or 5 owners to be the owners of the team, and so me and Tyler ended up getting our money. His agent at the time, because we switched agents, his agent kept his and kind of hit it on him. But I got my money, and then 2 weeks later, the guy that took over the team was killed in a plane crash, like in Belarus or Poland, and then the team folded for a year. And it's like, it was one of the original 6 teams over there, like the Montreal Canadiens, to fold for a year because they just didn't have any.
Wow.
It was either government funded or mafia funded, and they just didn't have any government to fund it.
That's crazy. Wow. Where was I going to go? I was going to go, oh, yeah, might as well, like we said, short on time, so I'm just trying to skim through a bunch of these questions and get some more exciting
24 years, you
won
more than an hour.
Playing over in England there. What was your time like in England? And you won the triple. What is the triple?
So it like the soccer, the football, whatever what they call it, but the regular season is the main trophy. So that's the first one. There's a internal league called the Continental Cup, which is kind of like inter squad, different, same as they do in soccer, and then a short playoff weekend to have a playoff winner. So the top 8 teams play one weekend, and then the top 4 teams play, and then a final in a one game elimination, and then you win the final. So the big one's the regular season, but we won all 3, and it doesn't happen very often. It's usually one team wins the regular season, one team sneaks away in the playoffs. So it didn't happen very often, but it was an awesome place to play. I played in a lot of places in Europe where the language barrier was tough, and this was all English, and it was, the people are great. We drew 5,000 or 6,000 people. The money wasn't the best that I played on, but I got to take my MBA at the time and do some schooling. Mm-hmm. And it was a time in my life that, the schooling might have been more important than the hockey, but the hockey, I had a great year. The team had a great year, and it was an experience that, I didn't win many championships, and we did win there, and we got a ring.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I read you got your MBA while you're over there. How did you find the balance between hockey and schooling? Was it a hard thing to adjust to, or did you find it pretty easy?
Well, the schooling was hard. I was smart in high school, but I didn't go to university after. I didn't have an undergrad. So the first little while, it was not only learning what to put into a paper, it was learning how to even get the paper going on the computer. Like, I didn't even know what Word was. I knew what the internet was, but I didn't know what Word was and Excel, and just learning that part was different. But the team was really good because I only practiced once or twice a week, and I was in school the other time, so it was good that way. They supported me, I was there to get schooling, even though hockey was really good and really fun. But I remember going sometimes, I'd be writing an exam or having to get a paper in, and coming to the rink a little bit late, and the names on your car, the logos on the car, and you're driving through, and the people going to the rink to watch the game that are beeping at you, letting you go through to get to the rink. They know what's going on. So it was fun. Like it was a cool time, and I had fun. And the English guys on my team were really good guys, and a lot of them are still friends.
Absolutely.
Cool. Yeah, just so you went over there, and then you kind of came back over to the North America game. Was it much of an adjustment for you to do that, like playing in Europe where it's more of a passive game to back to the bang and crash?
And you also come back, you're 40 years old when you come back as well.
Well, that factor too.
Yeah, so what? I seen the transformation of a lot of guys. Some guys can be really good players in the American League, go over to Sweden, not be that good, get signed in Germany and be really good in Germany. So some guys couldn't play in some leagues and some guys couldn't play in others. And I don't know if it's because I was slow and I didn't have to adapt. My game was my game. I wasn't, I was slower, and hockey sense was more my strong point. And I think that helped me. I didn't really find one league harder than the others. I really was able to adapt to whatever situation I was in, just because I think the style of my play, and I think that's why I got to play so long, is, some guys get hurt and slow down, and then they have to learn how to play at a slower speed and not play at that. I never had to relearn the game. I always played slow. So I delayed the game. I used that to my advantage, and I think that allowed me to play till I was older. I think that was one of the reasons, not because I was in super shape. I think it was more because I didn't have to change my game.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, in 2016-18, when you're playing with Brampton there, you're the second oldest active pro player behind the legend Jerome McGinley himself. So that's a pretty cool little stat there itself. But yeah,
it was, I got to play a long time, and my coach in Brampton was my second year. He was a rookie and junior when I was a 19-year-old. So it was kind of fun that way. It was an experience where I said, I went inside and I said, you know what, I won't disrespect you as a coach in front of the guys. So don't worry about that. You're the coach. I'm I'm older but I know the role that you have to play. And, I did sit up at the front of the bus and shoot the shit with him more than some of the players at that time. But, that was part of it. And it was fun. And I enjoyed the East Coast thing. Both times I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do, and every time they called back, and I couldn't say no. And you know what, to be honest, if they called me back again, I probably wouldn't say no now. So, it's just one of those, you jump at the opportunity when you get it.
Absolutely. You playing any pickup or anything, any leagues over there right now?
Yeah, I played senior last year when it was going. We were hosting the Steelhawks, and I said I'd still play. I'd go back and play with them, when I could, if they ever get going again in the senior loop there. So, but I do play. I play rec hockey with my buddies, and noon hour with some buddies, and I'm on the ice 5 or 6 times a week. And I'm the hockey nerd that will never not play until I can't play. So some guys hang their skates up and never use them again. I'm the guy that wants to be on 8-9 times a week. So that's
absolutely, yeah. There's still
I enjoy playing. I love playing. I like the joking around. I like the dressing room. I like the on the ice. I have fun, and it keeps you in shape. Instead of going to the gym all the time, you can get on the ice and have some fun.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, Walks, you got any last quick questions or?
I mean, kind of think we've touched what we can for tonight, but we definitely love to have you back on when you can, Linger.
Anytime. Like I said, I enjoy talking. It's, it didn't seem like an hour. I just looked and it's an hour. Like, I love talking. I didn't used to. I thought that, the hockey fan was kind of weird when I was younger, and now I appreciate it and reflect and understand that side of the game. I'm a fan of the game now, and I respect it, and probably should have respected it more then. But I love talking hockey and telling stories and listening to stories too. I listen to all these podcasts and giggle and laugh, and it's
Absolutely. Well, yeah, Linger, we really appreciate you as a person, as a player, as everything. We love the heart and soul that you have for the game. We love seeing it. We love hearing about it. And yeah, like you said, I can't believe the hour's up either. I had to skip through half my pages and skip through so many of my questions. So yeah, we definitely have you back on again here sometime in the future.
Let's do it at episode 27.
Stay in touch with you, and
Yeah.
we thank you very much again, and we thank everybody else for whoever tuned in and listened. And again, you can catch us on Rogers Television in London on Rogers Channel 13, or in the Kitchener-Waterloo area, Rogers Channel 20. You can also catch us on all social media, YouTube, Facebook, etc. And tune in every Saturday night for the new episodes dropping on Rogers. And we thank our guests again. Thank you very much again, Linger, and we appreciate very much your time and everything. And we'll talk again soon.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Take
Linger.
care.
Make sure to check out our past shows from previous weeks on our YouTube, Facebook, or Mixcloud channels. You can always catch up on podcasts while checking out our FHN Network channel on YouTube or Facebook. Or you can listen to an audio copy of our past shows on our Mixcloud channel at FHN_Network. The FHN Network, the future of entertainment.